From WDWNT, the worldwide leader in Disney Parks news, this is ParksCenter. Hello there, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of ParksCenter. My name's Ben, and joining me tonight we've got Allison.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, a little choppy. Hopefully it will get better. We've got Jill.
Welcome, foolish mortals.
Tyler.
Oh, hello. That was a bad Canadian accent.
From the guy with the Canadian accent.
It's great.
Glory.
And Pete.
Sivako, I love you.
Oh, that was a terrible Navi accent. Oh, gosh, I can't.
That was a terrible Navi accent.
All right. Let's go ahead and kick things off with the Festival of the Arts, which started up this, what was it, last week?
Friday.
I think it started up? Friday, January 17th. You can get the free PDF guide from WDWNT by heading over to wdwnt.art. That is a real domain name. And you can get access there to our guide to every booth, every food item, everything. And it is... Is it good? Actually, I haven't been down there yet. I'm probably not going to get to this year either, but I know that Jill and Pete both have. What are your thoughts about the festival this year, guys?
So, this was my first ever Festival of the Arts. I was really excited to go. It was my last Epcot festival to hit. And so here's some highlights for me. I loved the merch this year. I thought there was some really good merch design. Sometimes I feel like festival merch is hit or miss. I enjoyed doing the food booths. I always enjoy doing them, and this time I got to do some of the reviews with the WWNT crew. So that was an interesting adventure, the chaos of festival opening day. But I have to say, I wasn't really blown away by the food offerings. I kind of felt like there was a lot of hype around Festival of the Arts food. And the presentation for a lot of it was really good, but overall there was more I didn't like than I did like. I would also say it was the first time ever I ate a festival food offering from a booth and wanted to spit it out.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, no!
What was that?
There's this weird stuffed tomato in France. It's like a poached tomato that they stuff with. So funny because we got it and we're like, it looks like cat food. And then I tasted it and I feel like it tasted like cat food. So yeah, that was pretty rough.
There was
some good stuff though.
Like a stuffed pepper?
Yes, but a tomato.
It was a stuffed tomato with like meatloaf inside, so it did look like cat food.
So it's kind of... You can catch it there in our
that's
PDF.
the one
That's
right there.
center top row.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's the one.
Yeah, that
Oh,
doesn't
wow.
look
That is
appealing.
That is straight up fancy feast.
Yeah, it is fancy feast and a tomato. So this is, it's my first year living down here, but I'm 4 for 4 on Festival of the Arts. I kind of worked out every year. I try to come down in January, February-ish, and it also coincides as Pro Bowl week. So this is the week I normally would be visiting. I thought this festival was pretty good. So I don't think there was more that I disliked than I liked. I want to say it was probably like 55-45 that I enjoyed. We also keep in mind, like, when we do our reviews, if it's not completely new, we don't have to go try it. So I went back the following day with my girlfriend and other friends, and other Wigs members. Hi, guys. And tried some of the things from last year to see if they were better or worse. And again, you don't know if that was a bad day for that food item. Because again, I tried certain food items 3 or 4 times just this weekend. And they were slightly different every time. So you don't know if it was that particular day or chef or seasoning. It's pretty good. Here's the thing. And I was talking to Tom about this, is that people hold this on a pedestal because it is less food. It comes out more beautifully. It takes more time to prepare, so you'd expect it to taste better. And it does cost a pretty penny. But it's still food coming out of a booth. So I don't hold it on as high a pedestal as I do restaurant food. They have a whole kitchen. They have time. They can get it out faster. Some of this is prepared backstage, and it has to be brought out hot, kept hot. The presentation has to be done. There's a lot of moving parts for Festival of the Arts. I'm not making excuses for Disney. Again, I just don't start with my hopes super high. I say this is a food booth. I still want it to exceed expectations. I want to be pleased. I want to eat it and say I'll have this again. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. So with that being said, there were some major misses. I tease, Tom always says he hates Italy booth every festival, and a lot of the time it's not great. But there's one or two things that are edible. This time there was nothing that was even edible. But on the flip side of the coin, Pop Eats, I thought crushed it with everything. The sous vide chicken was my favorite dish of the festival. I've had it 4 or 5 times already. And the festival's I've only been there 2 days of the festival. Same thing with drinks. There's some great new cocktails, and there's some cocktails that were absolutely terrible. So again, and people's tastes are different. So I still encourage people to go and check it out. And our festival is a great jumping off point, but I wouldn't read it like the Bible. You never know. Even when we were reviewing things ourselves, some people loved something, and some people were like, I thought it was meh.
True. Very true. Yeah, there were definitely some really good things. The deconstructed nachos, I think, from Refreshment Port, or the lobster nachos, I'm sorry, from Refreshment Port were awesome.
Were amazing.
Lobster chips.
Lobster chip.
The shumai from China was also amazing. The blackberry margarita at Mexico was my favorite drink of the festival. However, Mexico also featured a banana daiquiri, which was the nastiest drink of the festival. It was $14.50 for this and this daiquiri tasted like, or $14.25. The margarita is $14.50.
So bad. It was the worst thing I drank that day.
Yeah, like children's medicine. It was not good. That was the gross. Another highlight of the festival, we did the Le Cellier brunch the first day. They offered it on Saturday. So I went with Tom and a few other people from staff, and it was the food was great. I really enjoyed it. Tom wasn't entirely blown away, but I think some of it is, like they have the cheddar cheese soup on the menu, so it's not anything remarkable. I thought the food was excellent, but price point was way too high. It was $67 for brunch. And,
good grief!
Yeah, it was a lot.
No.
Yeah, for brunch.
I'm gonna go to Victoria Albert's for that.
That's not a Broadway concert series dining package price. That is just brunch. However, I will say.
Speaking of which,
oh my gosh,
the Bloody Mary.
Did you watch a Broadway? Did you watch a Broadway concert series?
I didn't get to any of them.
Oh.
Yeah.
It was so good. I went Saturday night, and everyone should do it. It was better than what I thought it was going to be. Sorry, I cut you off. No, finish your brunch.
I was just going to say what I learned from the Le Cellier brunch is that if you ever go to Le Cellier and they have it on the menu, get the Bloody Caesar, which is their Canadian version of the Bloody Mary. It's made with clamato instead of just tomato juice, and it was the best Bloody Mary drink I have ever had.
Really?
I thought it would be. It was the best Bloody Mary I've ever had. So that was a huge thumbs up.
Interesting.
Okay. Cool. Well, heading from there into what essentially I think is at this point is just Epcot's film festival. Apparently, for Festival of the Arts, they put out 3 new films for us. So the first film on this docket, Awesome Planet, over in the Living with the Land Pavilion, where the Circle Life film used to be. We now have this Awesome Planet. Now, fair warning, I haven't seen the videos of any of these yet. How good is this? Because my expectations are low.
It's good to have low expectations. I think I would rate this film as passable, and I inadvertently put them in descending order of quality here, at least in my opinion. May differ. This is the most passable. The hardest thing about this is that there's nothing special about it. It's a little kitschy, not a little, it's very kitschy, and it replaced something that was magnificent. And that's the hardest pill to swallow. But it's watchable.
That's
strong disagree. Strong disagree.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to take it the other way. I'm not saying it's an amazing film. I'm not saying they did a good job. But it is the best of the 3 films that were presented. And I would see how being there is a little different. They add some special effects. There's lighting effects from the back of the theater. So when they're showing lightning actually strikes, and like flashes will happen behind you and around you as opposed to just on the screen. Certain skies and horizons, and when things happen on screen. that are also backlit. So it looks very cool. Also, when they're blowing wind, there's mist that comes into your face. When there's gushing waterfalls, you feel some mist. So like it's not very much there like Soarin' or Flight of Passage, but there is something there in the 2 or 3 times I saw it. With that being said, the content is not great. You don't learn anything new. And if you did, then where have you been? You have been living on this awesome planet. You're not learning anything new. And I think that's where the biggest mark they missed is that this is supposed to be a throwback or a nod to that edutainment and taking the ball and running with what they started in this theater. And there's nothing new. It's interesting. They have some decent shots. I think the picture quality is better than both of the other 2 shows in terms of quality of like how it was shot. But I mean, it's not awful. Like I said, out of the 3, this would be the one I would, if you were like, you have to take someone to watch one of the 3, this is the one I would take someone to watch. So take that as you will.
Might agree with that. Here's my frustration with it. So the first half of the movie is kind of talking about how the Earth works and the fact that the environment kind of naturally regenerates itself. And then they kind of go to this piece where like, but now things are different. And they don't tell you why. And it's like, you're missing the point here that humans are impacting the environment. Right. Like they never actually say humans negatively impact the environment, ever, once. And then they're kind of like, but you can help it get better. And then they never give you a single example, not a single example of how you can make it better. They tell you to just go to the Disney Conservation Fund website and donate.
Or on social media just to tag Awesome Planet.
I get if Disney is trying to avoid being political, but like, is it that bad to say like, shut off the lights when you leave the room or don't waste water? Like they didn't even have to get political. They didn't have to talk about global warming, and they still could have said something informational, educational in the spirit of conservation, and they just said 0.
I've got an opinion on that, but I'm going to save it for the post show because I could go.
Yeah, they could have even patted themselves on the back and said like switching from plastic straws to paper straws since they made that switch.
Yeah, let's talk about how we've done that.
They could have patted themselves on the back, but they didn't say anything at all. They didn't give any examples. Yeah. And again, like I just thought, like Jill said, like super cheesy. They like gave a website, and then they just like, and then like make sure to hashtag Awesome Planet like Epcot. It was just like so weird at the end. It just felt incomplete.
The last thing too. It literally goes, please visit our Disney website for more. Dead silence. Thank you for watching Awesome Planet. Like it doesn't even like end on an uplifting musical note.
It is. No one's super awkward. Both times in the crowd too. No one knows like whether to clap. So there's like a.
Oh.
It's so funny.
All right. Well, moving to film number 2, I'm a little scared based on what Allison said about these being in descending order. If that's the top of this list, Canada Far and Wide and Circle Vision 360. What have they done? What have they done to my child?
Actually, one of the only things they did was if that picture right there, they mossed the waterfalls. If you go back and look.
Oh, yeah, they did, didn't they? That looks kind of nice.
The waterfalls were mossed. Yeah, they put a little Pandora on there. That's one of the things that were done right there.
Cool.
I like the tiny,
and besides that, that's it. That's all you get in Canada. Go ahead, Tyler. Go ahead.
It's not better, I think. It's good that they updated all of the footage, but some of the footage is just the same. Like the bit where they lead into the song where the Royal Canadian Mounted Police are going like in a circle and the scene transitions, that bit, it's the exact same footage and it's even at like the exact same part. I don't know, there's this bit there. Okay, narrators, let's start with Martin Short. He has at least like some kind of charm and comedy to him. It doesn't always work, the comedy, but in this, like the new one, like Eugene Levy, Catherine O'Hara, they're not really being outwardly funny like Eugene Levy, like Martin.
And why would you pay? Why would you pay for Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara? Why would you pay that money if you're not going to let them be funny and you're going to give them 3 jokes? That's how I counted them, 3, and they were.
Are you,
At best,
what are
dad
the
jokes.
jokes?
At worst, not jokes. I can't figure it out. I'm sorry.
That's okay. One of them is Catherine O'Hara just going, by the way, Toronto, I'm from there. Wink. And I'm like, was that meant to be funny or charming? It was, all right.
Guys, the
Also, I
highlight
would
is
like
the
to
hella
point
yes
out-
joke.
The which?
Yeah.
She goes,
I
the
can't
hella
believe
yes joke where it's like, do you want to go hell like when they're going snowboarding? It's like, do you want to like drop out of a helicopter? And it's like, hella yes.
Oh gosh. Oh.
It does not come
Yeah,
off.
it gets me every time.
My personal favorite was the dentist joke when they're like, "We play a lot of hockey
no.
there, and that
Yeah.
keeps the dentist busy." What?
Oh my gosh! Like what? You're
I
taking
do
the
explain
state
it
sport and you're
later.
turning it into just like this, like not state sport, the country sport. It's
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Hockey
You're
is not
ruining
the
this.
national
You
sport
don't
of
learn
Canada,
anything.
right?
National sport. Thank you.
And yeah, they bring
But
up
it's not
Canada.
hockey,
They don't
right?
go like,
Is
They
it
also
not?
brag about Niagara Falls way too hard. They're like, once you pass over the bigger and better falls, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
That was
Canada,
another
relax.
thing.
We know.
narratively,
Tyler,
they start
so-
and end at Niagara Falls in the original. And I like,
Yeah.
or sorry, in the Martin Short version, I like that because at the end, they're like, we're back at Niagara Falls. We've come full circle. And sadly, our stories come to an end. And I actually like that piece of dialogue. And this one, it's like, oh, hey, Niagara Falls. Anyways, thanks for coming. What were you
Let's
gonna
talk
say,
also
Bill?
about the recycled footage and stuff that so that I thought some of the most dynamic footage from the Martin Short one is when you see the people ice skating on the river in this big city.
Oh yeah.
They have footage like that now, but the camera doesn't move. It's just static. And so there's like nothing dynamic about it. It's just bland, which is really a microcosm of this entire film. There's nothing
this right here?
dynamic. It's just, yes, it's just bland. You've got still, yeah.
And a
What
lot of the
happened?
shots, like I could tell they reused the shot of Toronto because there's a lot of buildings that have been updated in that exact area.
Yeah.
I can go there and be like, oh look, okay, it's Union Station, which is like the
There's
central
also-
sort of hub for transit. It's not new because it's not the new building that's currently there. Like they clearly
There's
did not
two
go into film
things-
footage.
I had a beef with two, and one of them was they didn't update the picture quality. Like it looks grainy, like a VHS tape. It was not good.
Yeah.
And two was they literally are going to date themselves in a few months, where they go, the North has won. They cut to whatchamacallit, the
Raptors.
thank you. Like the Raptors winning the national championship, which there will be a new national champion in just a few months. Where now this film will be dated almost instantly. If this runs for 15 years, they're gonna be like it'll be watched like the Knicks win a championship like that. I don't remember that from so long ago.
We are the first time the Raptors have taken home like a trophy for Toronto or Canada. We're like
They made it a huge part of the show. They're like the North has won. Like it wasn't even like a picture
It
on
was a
one of the
big
sidewalls.
deal.
It was a big. I'm sure it was a big deal, but this is like a major part of like at least to me like they made it a big part of this film, and it's literally something that becomes dated almost instantly the minute you put it in the film. You're talking about buildings, that, and again, I wouldn't know building updates in Toronto. This is something that almost all Americans will know is like who won the championship, at least for a little bit, for a fraction of a second.
Well,
but anyway, those are my two beats.
Let's move to something else that all Americans will know: the Beauty and the
God.
Beast. Clearly, we've got a whole sing along for it now. This is what could possibly go wrong with this? Like
Everything.
what could be bad about a Beauty and the Beast single? Like it might not be the greatest thing, but how could you like make it bad?
Well, first of all, it's barely a sing-along. There are like
Wait, really?
It's 15
It is, it
minutes
really
long.
is.
There's about 75 seconds of singing in the 15 minutes that this film is going on, and I don't understand why that is. But that's probably my smallest complaint. Most of this is just like, I have so many whys. Why LeFou?
Yeah.
Nobody has been clamoring for like more LeFou unedited.
Whoa,
that's
whoa.
not like that's like not a thing. No, like
That might not be.
it's not a thing.
I can tell you.
Go,
you want me to
go,
tell
go,
you?
Go.
Because they made LeFou in the live action one a positive character by being like, he's gay, which is just him looking at a dude in a dress for a split second, nothing else in the movie.
Let's talk about that in this film.
We don't know how to do this. We're Disney. We don't understand gay people. So they're like...
The image of gay people here. Yes, he puts on a dress, puts on an offensive lisp, like stronger than anything, and and there's both like a body shaming portion of it, like, oh, I'm the same size as Belle, when like he's clearly not, and he's putting on this offensive accent, and it's 2020, and this kind of accent wasn't acceptable 25 years ago, or 28 years ago when almost 30 years ago when this movie came out. It's certainly not acceptable now, but somehow Disney thought this is a good idea to put in theme park. Meanwhile, I'm watching Disney Plus and I'm trying to find a movie for my daughter to watch, and there's like I can't because there are permissions on it, and I have to go to my profile, and they give me a cultural warning for all sorts of things. But they put in the theme park.
The minute they put LeFou in a dress for laughs, I have so many words for you, Disney. If you kill Jack Whitehall, the gay character in Jungle Cruise the movie, I'm done with you forever. You have zero impact on LGBT culture. Go away. Thank you. I'm done. Bye.
Men wearing is not a punchline.
They set you up for exactly what you're gonna get. So they start off, they give the little introduction, they tell you they're basically retconning the story and cramming LeFou in there and making him the hero, which, tune into News Tonight tomorrow night because you'll get a really good analysis of that part, I think. But then the very first song, they start doing Belle, she comes out of the house and starts singing. And then they get to the bonjour, bonjour, and then it just stops. Like abruptly, the music stops. You're not singing anymore. People want to go into the next verse, and it doesn't happen. And then they just start cramming this weird story back in again. And it's kind of like it's all abrupt, and you're like, why did they do this? Which is, that continues throughout the entire movie. I just don't understand because they created some new animation segments for this. They were using pieces of Beauty and the Beast, and then they were creating these LeFou segments that didn't exist before and putting them in. If they had just taken Beauty and the Beast and made an actual sing-along with just Beauty and the Beast footage, it would have been cheaper and everybody would have been so much happier. This was actually a situation where Disney could have spent less money and created a better product, and they just didn't. And
I'll just say one thing, and I'll save the rest of my opinion for tomorrow night on News Tonight, and Jill kind of touched upon it, is my biggest thing with this was you called it a sing-along, and every time I wanted to keep singing, they changed. They either started where they went into dialogue, or they just changed the song, or they took the words off the script. Like, it was the worst sing-along. It was, and they would even encourage you. It was like almost like begging. They'd be like, "Hey, this is the part where you dads just pretend to move your mouths and not sing. Let's get him singing." No one. And this is where LeFou walks through the jungle. Like, it was the worst. It should not have been called a sing-along. I agree with everything you guys said about all your other stuff too. I'll talk about it tomorrow.
Just to verify, you folks actually did see it in person, right?
I did, yeah.
Okay, because there is a known issue right now where with the way that YouTube is set up that we don't have the full show able to be seen online right now. I just wanted to double check that you weren't talking about the cut down version we had to post, because it sounds like you're talking about the cut down version.
Sadly, I lost 3 minutes of my life.
The parts of the original movie that they showed were fine. Yeah. It was all the new stuff they crammed in that made it giant disaster.
It also looks, by the way, Ben, that they lifted that for the above video, the 15-minute video, because I was able to watch it fully this afternoon. So I know a couple of days ago they had removed some content, but sometimes there's an appeals process, and it looks like they've unblocked stuff.
Wonderful. Then you should be able to find that out there yourselves if you in YouTube land are interested in watching.
And enjoy the entertainment of the full version.
Don't waste your time, please. Don't do it.
Go get yourself two robots, sit down and make fun of it. That's the plan. Yeah. Speaking of robots, hey, let's head on over to Star Wars Land. Star Wars Rise of the Resistance opened at Disneyland this past week. And they ran out of boarding passes in 45 seconds on opening day. Like, no exaggeration. We had somebody sitting there watching, like, with a stopwatch, checking for how long it took them to run out of boarding passes. It was less than a minute. This is ridiculous. Good grief.
I'm not going.
And it was like that for days, where it was like 1 or 2 minutes was the only window you could get a boarding pass. Like, oh my gosh. Combine that with the fact that it's been breaking down more often than we were expecting, which we were already expecting some. And just the capacity for this has been trash for Disneyland, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean,
what about the guests without smartphones?
I think they have, like,
you
kiosks
go to the
where you can
guest
get them.
experience kiosk. That's what they tell you to do.
Wrong button.
Because honestly, if they're going in 40, I kind of knew the answer to that. Because if they're going out in 45 seconds, I wonder what it's like going to the guest experience scene to be like, I didn't get a boarding pass because I don't have a smartphone, and everyone who has one, they're gone in 45 seconds. Like, is that a hack, or is this like, or do you have to be like, can I have a boarding group? Can I have a boarding group? Can I have a boarding group?
It's that scene from South Park where they're like, all right, let me get you a boarding group, and they're gone.
Yeah,
it's a legit problem in Walt Disney World still too. So like yesterday, Rise didn't open, I think, until 2:00 in the afternoon, somewhere around there. Like they issued boarding groups, but the ride just didn't open. And we were there on Monday. We got a boarding group. The regular, like you get to ride the ride boarding groups were gone in 3 minutes on Monday. 3 minutes in Walt Disney World. So you could still get a backup after that, but by 7:03 a.m. all the regular boarding groups were gone. So it's still, I mean, Disney World's still having its fair share of issues. I'm not surprised Disneyland is having them, especially, they tend to get more crowded. So, and people
is this better than a 5-hour queue?
I was going to say that. Is this the best option than people running and probably trampling each other?
Yes. Here was my experience. We all, again, went on Martin Luther King Day, so everybody's off school, off work. The park was mobbed. There are crowds of people everywhere. I mean, basically, as far in as they'll let you into the park. They were letting us in up to not quite Backlot Express, all up to, I think, the entrance to Toy Story Land. So there were just these huge crowds of people collected everywhere. And I can't imagine the trampling. Like, I legit think there would be trampling if they did, make the run for the ride at Rope Drop. But we got a boarding group. For me, I had crazy luck that day. Got an early boarding group. By the time, we got there and just walked through the queue. I mean, we basically walked until we got into that first pre-show room. And I was stunned. It was, so that part of the experience, not having to wait 6 hours and be kind of worn out by the time you even get on the ride, I think helps you enjoy it more. But, and again, I think there would be some legitimate safety issues if there was a run for the ride kind of situation.
Very true.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Well, speaking of issues with this, there have been people who have been forging boarding passes. This is a uniquely Disneyland problem because they do not have magic bands out there. So as you can kind of see here, you get a boarding pass as an image on your phone with a barcode. If you'll look closely in that picture has blanks in it. It does not have numbers for the group. It does not have the return time printed on it. It does not have your name on it. So you could put your own on there and fill it out, and then when it doesn't scan, just beg the cast member to let you in anyways. What are you people? No, stop this! You're not making anything better for anybody by doing this. It looks like you're making things better for yourself, but you're really just making everything worse for everybody else because you're slowing down this entire process.
See, I agree with Tom talked about this on news today. And I agree with him. I think this is a problem by guests and by Disney themselves. Is guests should not be doing this. You're taking advantage of the system. There's other hacks you can do to save time in the parks or save money in the parks, or maybe a little thing here and there. This is a blatant. You're faking It's almost as bad as faking a ticket into the park. You're
Yes.
And you're also taking experiences away from other people, especially in a limited time basis and people who are getting there early in the morning. But also Disney, like, you have to enforce this. There's going to be a bad apple all the time. You have to plan on somebody out there not doing the right thing, sadly, in the way the world works. You have to train your cast members to be way more aware of this. And the minute it happens, to shut this down and to make it a real issue and show that there's consequences for these actions. And even if you're not the person who created it, if you're going to go use it, maybe you say, all right, well, now you're DQ'd from this ride for the next 30 or 60 days, or you lose fast pass, whatever it is. There's got to be consequences because you're ruining the experience of people who are genuinely doing the right thing and are being authentic and are putting in the time, energy, and money. So I think this is a problem by both the guest who did it, but also Disney's got to be there to enforce their own rules and to make sure that these people are doing the right thing. There's people will cheat the system everywhere you go.
Kick them out
Disney
with no
shouldn't
refund.
be surprised by this. Like, they shouldn't. Like, this happened in the opening of Disneyland. People had forged tickets, and then they try to correct for this. Like, they tried when the opening of Walt Disney World to they're like, all right, let's make it the middle of October and make so that we don't have the same kind of problems. So I think they should have anticipated this. This is like huge, and I think it would have been a whole lot. It could have been even worse if they opened the land with everything together at the same time.
Yeah,
like maybe this was good.
We would have been queuing for the whole land, and it would have been
and nothing
insanity.
would have worked.
No one would have left. They would have gone and hidden the bathrooms and stuff. Like it wouldn't have worked.
You would have had a real resistance. There would be people hiding in the trees, stormtroopers coming through. Everyone would scatter.
It would be fun to watch. I'll give you that. I'd pay money to watch that happen. But all right, let's pick up a little bit of lost time because we've gone
Speaking
very
of fake tickets, how do I get one for the cruise?
So WDWNT, the cruise is a thing that is happening. That is going to be August 17th through the 21st. Of this year. Highly recommend you check who here is going to be going on the cruise, because I'm going.
I'm a 50-50.
Oh, come on. You
I'm going. I'm going with baby.
Nice.
Aww.
I have to wait for my work schedule a little bit further down the road, but I'll notice it.
This is going to be a blast, folks. I highly recommend you check this out. I especially recommend that you folks head over to Never Grow Up Vacations and book through them because they have some special packages set up for just us that include, I believe, we've got a lunch dinner kind of mix and mingle going on. We've got some games that are going to be going on over the course of the cruise. If you can come. I would love to have more people come. This is going to be Tom's first cruise. This is going to be my first cruise, and I'd love to meet y'all down there. But I've never been on a boat this big before in my life. So
I heard it's pretty big.
I hear it's pretty fun. So I'm looking forward to seeing all of this. And like I was saying, you should check out Never Grow Up Vacations, the official travel partner of WDWNT, if you want to go down to this cruise, or just the parks in general. Never Grow Up Vacations is an authorized Disney vacation planner whose focus is in making magic for their clients, and with over 20 years of experience booking Disney vacations and Disney cruises, we're sure they can help you make your next trip even more magical. So head on over to wdwnt.travel to contact them about your next trip today. That's going to do it for this week, folks. If you are sticking around for the post show, we will be right back with that in just a moment. If you're not already, I recommend you head over to patreon.com/WDWNT and join us there as one of our WIGS members. You get access to our post shows, the post shows for News Tonight, and a whole host of other benefits if you do that, while also supporting this show and all the other shows you love. So that is patreon.com/WDWNT for the post show. Otherwise, we will see you all next week. Bye.
Sivako!
Da, 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 da.
Da, 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 da.